I think one of the most important things is that we're telling our kids to go chase their dreams, but many times we aren't showing them. We aren't showing them. We aren't showing them what that looks like. And so they have because, kids learn from what they see. Our children watch us. They want to see that what we're telling them is what we're doing, that we're doing what we're saying.
Yeah.
And we're telling them that they can do anything in life, that they can become the next president or fly to the moon or become an astronaut or start their own business. And yet we're working this 9-to-5 job and we're not showing them. Mm-hmm. There's some disconnect there for kids. And I think kids are smart and they're going to figure it out.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
A strong family isn't just born, it's built. And what better way to build than creating something together? Alone, we can do so little. Together, we can do so much. Quote by Helen Keller.
Welcome to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell, and I'm here with my beautiful wife,
Ildiko Ferenzi,
and co-host Ildiko Ferenzi. And we have a great podcast for you guys. And I know I say that every time, but every time I feel like we have a great podcast. And this is, today's podcast is really about, we have a bone to pick. And that's with this idea that people should be doing these 9-to-5 jobs and separated from their families, gone at the office for 9 hours straight, and then they finally get home and they see their family for 30 to 40 minutes, and then it's time for the kids to go to bed, and that's it. And that's their daily routine for 5 days a week, and hopefully they look forward to the weekends. And that's all we have to look forward to. And I just feel like that there's more to life than that. And when we started thinking about it and talking about it yesterday, we were talking about somebody who came to us with this idea to start a business, and somebody in our group.
I feel like more and more people are talking about this. It's quite viral right now. And when they talk about this topic, which we're going to talk about after this.
Right after this, as soon as we get back. Hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. It just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody it might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes. And thank you again, and let's get back to the show. There's a lot of people that won't agree with us on this, but there's a lot of people that will, and that are also seeing this picture. And it is why building a business from home while raising a family can be one of the smartest and most fulfilling choices you can make.
Because I was talking to this
We were talking to a couple.
This couple, but I was
Well, you were talking
speaking
to
with the man,
her husband.
the husband, and
Yes.
and he was talking about that they really want to start a business together. That right now they both have 9-to-5 jobs, and they want to start this. Well, actually, I take it back. She's a stay-at-home mom. That's what she's doing.
But she was a career woman, so she feels somewhat like she's losing herself.
She's lost her identity. She's feeling a little bit. That was her part, was that she felt like she had lost her identity a little bit. And her husband's part was he's always wanted to start a business. Mm-hmm. And the idea, he had this feeling that he really wanted to start a business, but he was worried about the risks and the money that it takes and all the other things that everybody worries about when they're thinking about starting a business. Mm-hmm. And when we came home and we were speaking about it, the one thing that we keep coming back to is the fact that, man, there's nothing more fulfilling than being around your family mm-hmm. and having these questions and talking about your business together and mm-hmm. everybody contributing. And it's the way that we've said this before on the show. It's the way that they did it back in the 1800s, in the 1700s, I'm sure, the 1500s, when people had these little businesses where they made food or whatever, that built weapons or whatever they were doing at the time.
Blacksmiths.
They were all did it as a family.
That's right.
You did it together, because if you were farming, most people had farms, or they were growing their own vegetables, or selling their extras back to people in the city.
Yes.
And when they would do that, it was a family affair.
Yes.
Everybody contributed to it, and the kids learned so much at a young age. Mm-hmm. And it's the way our kids are learning now. They learn so much in business at a young age. I look forward to what they're going to do in the future. And it's so fulfilling, and it's something that we love, and it's why we started this podcast. And so I told this to him, or we told this to them, and I said, it's probably the best thing that we've ever done. Mm-hmm. When you start a business or run a business with your family, and they're able to learn these life lessons, your kids are able to learn these life lessons, and you're able to have these great conversations with your spouse, and you're able to build something together. You want to go, see, a husband and wife, they want to be on an adventure together. They want to do something together, something exciting. They want to take on the world. That's the feeling that you had when you first got married. Mm-hmm. That you feel like you were together to take on the world, that you were going to do something special, make your mark on the planet, do something for God. And this is something that we feel like we're doing every day when we're building our business.
Yeah.
And this is a feeling that it's really hard to replicate. And I feel like when people go to work and they're all separated, and the wife's at home and the husband's at work, and they rarely see each other, that it's just not what we were meant to do.
I feel it's very dangerous, and some people don't agree with me. I know there are moms out there that like to lunch, brunch, and shop and do all the things, and it's nothing against them. Do what you feel that you're called to do, but I feel that this is it for us and our circle. This is how I grew up. I was never happier. I loved it. I couldn't wait to come home from school, to walk I think I would walk about a half an hour with my brother to walk to the store. So he would walk from his high school. This is before he passed. He'd walk from his high school to my elementary school, and we would walk together for half an hour, and we would talk together, and then we would see my mom, and then we had our routines that we would do in the store. I had my jobs. I would clean the counters and clean all the fingerprints off every time a customer would come in. And at that time, I was really young, so I wasn't handling the customers yet. I got to handle the customers at 7.5 years old. But I had to be careful because we were in a jewelry store. I had to have a lot of attention. I'm dealing with engagement rings, necklaces, pendants, all kinds of different high-priced jewelry pieces, diamonds, jewels. I had to learn the different jewels, semi-precious, precious. But these are things, don't be fooled. Your children are brilliant. They can remember things. Daniel remembered, the man in the arena at 4.5 years old. Your children are capable. Okay, we're watching these videos. Dan and I remember we were watching these little kids in China, and their school curriculum is a lot more different than ours. They're just literally look like little babies, and they're cooking hot food and preparing food, setting tables, doing intricate exercises and activities and real athletic things that are, I feel like,
but they're going through the motions.
Really,
they're being taught that.
They're being taught that.
And that's the problem is that we don't teach our kids these things.
We don't
and they're
challenge
we think
them.
that we don't challenge them. We think that they're just going to be okay when they go out into the world. And the truth is they're going to be late to the party because they're probably not going to figure it out for a while instead of hitting the ground running.
Yes.
And because now I feel like people are doing this younger and younger.
They can't be trying out the lemonade stand at 1920. They're when I was 19,
20-year-olds building billion-dollar companies.
Yeah, I bought my first commercial property at 19 years old. At 13, I invested in a property with my mom, not because she gave me the money. I had to earn that money myself.
But now it's more important than ever.
Yes.
I mean, right now in this century, people are, we're going to have robots in our homes soon. We're going to have...
I don't want a robot in my home.
You don't want a robot?
No.
I just say they're coming. This is coming, and this is happening fast. And with AI and everything that's going on in the world and all these ways to arbitrage your time, and it's happening fast. Everything's happening fast.
Yeah,
and we have to teach our kids and get them ahead of the curve because if we don't, nobody is. And we have to start teaching our kids. And so I just feel like it's this is one of the best ways to do that. If you can start a business, and I think the question was for them was, how much money is it going to take, or what is it going to take? And I encourage people to just start small. It doesn't. You don't need to quit your job tomorrow to go start a small business on the side. And there's so many opportunities now that there's so many different things you can do that you can have that you don't have to. I was working 3 jobs. I would go to my first little warehouse was in the 3rd bedroom of my little condo, and I would ship off the shirts. I would have them all stacked in these Rubbermaid bins, and I would just find the shirt from the orders from online, and I would ship them out. And it was now you don't have to do those things. You can create a business that's built on drop shipping or where somebody else might create, print to order, print on demand.
Yeah.
And you can also have somebody else making the product. So it's more about marketing.
Yeah.
And so it depends on what type of business. You might have a service-based business that might be a little bit different, but you can set it up so that it's a part-time business and start like that. There's so many people. How many people can you think of that you've heard stories about where they started off part-time?
Of course.
They weren't trying to build a full-time business out the gate.
I think they were, and this is
Mine
important.
was a part-time business.
As I mentioned, it's not for everybody, but in our this is our niche. This is what we do. So of course we're going to attract other people that are doing it or would like to do it, would like to get into something in the space with their spouse, and then also include their children. This is very attractive to them. But I mean, I think that the core reasons for us, because it brings our family together, and instead of spending hours apart, we're building something together. We're leaving a legacy, and we're creating bonds and moments and shared goals. And when we go away, here's the great part, that's a write-off. It's an actual write-off. You have to, of course, document the meetings and document it and why are you going on this trip. But definitely, even when I was a child, that sparked some of the best business marketing tactics that we did with the family, business ideas. Then also, when you go to different parts of the world, you see what they're doing in their businesses. And it's just such great conversations. And who better, like, can you imagine having these great conversations with strangers? Yes, that's beautiful too. But don't you wish that you could share that with your spouse and your children? Well, in this situation, you can. And not only are those holidays going to be engraved in your mind. I don't remember the toys really, maybe a few toys that my mom bought me. But it was the memories and the vacations, and most of my memories are in the shops, on the vacations, in the houses that we bought, the transformations that we did to the homes. Those are the beautiful memories for me. And I know my mother also, whenever she was always a big legacy builder. So for the babies, she didn't really buy them presents, but she would put money away for them. And then she'd dream with them to tell them what that money could perhaps do for them one day. Because, toys are kind of junky, they fall apart, and it's played with for 15 minutes and then it's forgotten. So some of the things that she did, of course, when the babies are born, you put away a few $1,000s, and then every birthday you send money, and then you put it in these accounts for them, and it compounds. And basically, when they grow up to be 65, it's, they're looking at $2 to $7 million. So do your research on that. We will have some experts that will talk about this, but these are all things that as parents, my mother had a different mindset. So for her, she'd always think long-term, and just those are the kind of gifts that she would do. But as parents, now we can think of those things for our children, who are actually our employees and business partners. And it's a really smart move to create that legacy for them. And then as well as they get about 14 to 15, depending where you are, they get that write-off, $14,000 to $15,000 per year. And then they put that in a Roth,
All right.
Yes.
I think that what do people have to be thinking about if they want to go start their business? What are the things that if they're working a 9-to-5 job right now and they're dreaming about the one day that they're going to start their business? And I know a lot of people, and I could probably name 10 or so on friends and family and people that I've known throughout the years who said that one day I'm going to start my business, and it's been 20 years since they've made that declaration. They still haven't done it.
Well, I think that you need to sit down. This is from my experience. You need to sit down and you need to identify what your family is good at. Watch your children. They all have different skills that they bring to the table. Your wife, your husband.
And interest too, because I feel like you're not going to be... I mean, don't get me wrong. Starting a business, I had to think through this long and hard, because when I started my business, a clothing company, and in a space that, in being the leader in the space of mixed martial arts and ultimate fighting, and I was in a place where I felt like I love everything about what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And then I almost felt sorry for people who had businesses that weren't that exciting. But I come to realize later, when I would get into those businesses a little bit and kind of get into the nuts and bolts of them, I realized that running a business is exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Building something is exciting.
Yeah, it is.
And so I see what they find exciting in that business and why they're doing it and why they love to get up every morning, no matter what you're doing. I was talking to a guy who's probably running $1 billion business right now, and he sells garage doors. And it's a huge business for him. Huge. He's probably, I don't know if he's doing $200, $300, $400 million, but it's big. And nobody was more excited about garage doors than him.
Right.
But he's the king of it. And he loved building it, growing it.
I get it.
And it was exciting for him.
Yeah.
And so you can find excitement in everything, but you have to love what you're doing if you want to.
100%.
If you're not thinking about it on your days off, and if you're not thinking about it when you're in the shower, if you're not thinking about it when you're walking around with your family, I mean, then it's probably not something that you love that much.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you're not talking about it with your family every day, having these conversations and being excited about it and getting the kids excited, then you're probably not, it may not be the right thing to do for you.
Yeah. I mean, I could relate to that in my old life. I remember my partner and I, and not me as much, but they'd get caught talking about concrete just during the dinner. And I was like, not everybody loves it as much as us. So we got to tone it down.
Yeah.
So I could see when you were talking about your martial arts, not everybody loves it as much as you.
Oh, they used to say, here comes the tap out guy.
Right. But to you, that's your baby. So here you go. You got to sit down with your family, figure out what you're good at, what your interests are. Perhaps it's crafting for you guys, teaching, organizing, sales. Write down 3 to 5 skills for each family member to bring to the table. This is in the brainstorming stages. And even if you already know, still write down the skills, what you love to do.
And remember, you might have to back into those a little bit, because you have to realize how much time you have. So if it's a part-time job for you, gig for you, business for you, then you might have to realize, okay, we can't do because you're going to have to decide, do I want to do a product-based business or
that's what I was going to say. You got to
business?
figure out the business model.
So if you're doing a service-based
fit
business,
into your life?
You're only going to be able to do service when you have free time.
That's right.
And that may be hard to do for the type of service-based business that you want to do.
Unless you're doing consulting, freelancing, coaching.
Right, but if
that's
it's like, if you're, I was looking at somebody yesterday who started his own garbage business. He went out and bought a garbage truck, and he signed up his whole neighborhood, and now he's making a really good income. I think he said $300,000 to $500,000 a year just emptying trash, a private garbage company.
Yeah, pick the jobs no one wants to do.
Imagine that's something, if it's a part-time job, you might not be able to do because you can only do it at certain times. You might have a 9 to 5 job where you can't do it during those times.
Yeah.
So, and then so it may not be for you.
Right. So you have your service-based, as I said, the consulting, coaching, and then there's the e-commerce, of course, selling products, drop shipping, Amazon, and then there's digital products. Yes, courses, printables. Printables are huge. I know so many moms making good money off just homeschool stuff and coloring books and all this crazy stuff. Then there's the memberships, and then content creation.
We
know
buy
a
homework
ton
for our kids.
Yeah.
We have to buy work sometimes online because we want them to do extra work.
On top of
what they're already doing.
Yeah.
And we have to, I pay $2-3 a sheet for each one of these homework sheets. And you know how that adds up. I mean, it adds up. You know how many sheets we buy every week?
Yeah.
So that adds up for somebody's making money on that.
Mm-hmm. And then there's content creation. And we know a lot of YouTuber families. I love that for them because this is something they love to do together. I don't know what you're doing over there, mister. And then, of course, podcasting, blogging, social media, brand deals. There's all that stuff that people are doing that's monetizing beautifully for them. And then, of course, local family businesses, family-run bakeries, home improvement, childcare, rentals, all that kind of stuff, snow plowing, whatever it may be. So just get really deep and just start to figure out what you guys can do together. And if one thing doesn't, don't ever be afraid to pivot. It's all a lesson.
Yeah, and
it's a beautiful lesson.
You know what? You don't have to figure it out right away. The thing is I love that conversation to keep going, to walk around and see the world, maybe go on a trip and say, hey, maybe we'll look for some ideas while we're out here.
Yes.
Starbucks was founded when Mark, I'm blanking on his name right now.
Starbucks. That's toxic.
when he was out in I believe in Italy, and he saw them enjoying coffee the way they were enjoying coffee, not like our experience at the time was you could only get coffee in like 7-Eleven, and he saw people sitting around enjoying a cup of coffee or an espresso, and he wanted to bring that idea back to the States. Sometimes you find these ideas in different places that you're not expecting, and it really sparks something in you. Like, I think people I know would love to be doing that. You know, you see we see a lot of kids, you know, because we get targeted because we have kids, we get targeted with a lot of these ideas for kids. I was looking at one yesterday where they got this big warehouse and turned it like into Jump Zone and some other stuff. But the one thing that stood out was, you know, all those battery powered cars that you buy at like Target or Walmart or whatever. They cost like a couple $100, you know, and they like giant Jeeps and whatever. They had like 50 of them and they had streets. So it was all mapped out in streets around the things to do. So you could like drive to the next thing that you wanted to do. If you want to go play in the basketball thing, you drive your car over there and then park and then get out and go do the basketball thing for a little bit. And so they had all these kids are driving cars around. And they're like, it looked like the coolest thing. And I mean, what kid wouldn't want to be there? Yeah. So just a great idea that just comes from
that's fun brainstorming with your kids, with your family. If you were to go into that type of business.
Right.
That'd be so fun to
it'd be an idea that the kids
them.
would love, that you would love. And then even as they got older, you know, it's just an exciting business for everybody because you're helping families and you can really, you know, you can do other things that inspire them too, you know, putting great quotes on the wall to inspire the kids or maybe have certain type of programming on the where everybody could see.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised because your children are in a younger generation and they just have these ideas. I remember my mom was so grateful for my brother and I because we would bring fresh new ideas. And when I had the party shop, she was just she came to me and she said, Ildiko, I'm so proud of you because you are doing your research and you're doing all the buying yourself and everything is selling so well. And I never really thought about it. It felt like instinct. This is what I would buy if this was me and it was a party shop. That's what I wanted to do because those of you that know the story, when I was around 13 years old, she was worried about her health. She's a single mom, and she thought with us losing David, what if something were to happen to her? And I think that she noticed that I felt there was this period where I kind of wanted to I was torn because I wanted to be in the shop, but then I wanted to hang out with my friends. But I had this responsibility because it is a responsibility, and it just felt different not having my brother there. So there was, you know, a lot of emotions that were going on. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to run the jewelry store, if that's what I wanted to take over. And she gave me the choice of, you know, you have all this money saved up. You can start a business of your own. Do you want me to guide you? But you're going to have to do this all by yourself. You're going to have to get the business license. You're going to have to do this all by yourself. So think about it. Is there anything you would rather do? And I came up with the idea for the party shop. And it was really cool because I came up with ideas of not only having the balloon bouquets for the birthdays and anniversaries that we were selling in the store, but the idea came up doing wedding decoration. Then we had novelty items, the t-shirts, and those were flying off the rack. My mom said, I wouldn't even know what kind of styles to buy. I would never be able to sell these things, but you did such a good job on the research. So long story short, you'd be surprised by how much your children are capable of. And that's going to be just such a beautiful thing to see them just doing great things at such a young age. It didn't feel like a big thing for me.
And how much self-esteem,
easy and fun.
You know, the self-esteem that it gives these kids.
Yes, you feel independent and you're excited.
They're building something.
Yeah, you do a wedding and it's what, a couple $1,000s for the weekend, and you keep redoing this idea of we have the store hours, but then also doing the weddings and doing the decorations and then just hiring some of your friends. And then they're excited about the money that they made. They've never seen this much money because they're doing like a paper route or selling, cupcakes, or they're selling, lemonade stands. They've never seen this kind of money. So you bring them in on the idea, and then their brain starts moving in ways that they've never thought before. And they're like, I want to do a business like Ildiko. Anyway, it's such a cool thing to do for your kids. I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity. And I'm so grateful that I can do it with my children and my husband. So this is really exciting. This is real life. I've done this and I'm doing it, and our circle is doing it. And it's so exciting.
I think one of the most important things is
that
we're telling our kids to go chase their dreams, but many times we aren't showing them. We aren't showing them what that looks like. And so they have because kids learn from what they see. Our children watch us. They want to see that what we're telling them is what we're doing, that we're doing what we're saying. Yeah. And we're telling them that they can do anything in life, that they can become the next president or fly to the moon or become an astronaut or start their own business. And yet we're working this 9-to-5 job and we're not showing them. Mm-hmm. There's some disconnect there for kids. And I think kids are smart and they're going to figure it out. And we have to show them. We have to show them what's possible. So,
let them have that.
And this can be a family project.
Space.
It gives you a chance to spend more time with your family, more time with your kids, more time with your spouse, meaningful time, exciting time. I think it's a way that even if you don't ever take it beyond a part-time business, that it can be important and something that your kids will always remember and they will learn so much from.
Yes, I really believe that there's this strengthening of the family relationships. That's core, right? And then leaving a legacy. And the facts are, when you have a family business, that usually lasts longer than a business that you're working with strangers that don't care as much. There's something, and I know I'm speaking to the children or the grown-ups that have lived in or have had this experience. I mean, you want to protect your family business. There's a different weight behind that. You're not just going through the motions and getting a paycheck. This is a legacy that you guys have built together. And then, of course, creating financial security while prioritizing what matters most. That's amazing. And then raising kids who understand hard work, responsibility, and creativity, because that's rare nowadays. And then gone will be the days of entitlement, because that's hard to see.
Because they're all working through it. They're all working for something hard, and you put them to work. Mm-hmm. Get those kids working. You got to put them to work. Show them what hard work looks like, and everybody can work towards that. Everybody can be a part of the dream. Everybody can build it together, and they all feel this sense of accomplishment together. Yeah. So I hope you guys got something from this podcast today. And if you guys are listening and you guys have this thought to start a business, what do you guys think? I know not everybody's going to agree with us that this is a great idea because there's a lot of risk and there's other things involved, but there's ways to mitigate that risk. You don't have to put your whole life savings towards it. You can start today. No, there's been no better time than to start a business than right now. Yeah. Right now, 2025 it's just with the AI tools that are out there, drop shipping,
and the marketing that's available,
the digital products, everything that's out there. It's the best time in the world to ever start a business right now.
And make sure you let your kids be a part of that branding and the content and the storytelling.
And the idea
make sure you use the storytelling. How did you come up with? Share it. We all want to know. Share it on your Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is. Document your journey. If you can afford it, get people to document the journey for you, because this builds connection in your audience. And if you're not sure, I grew up watching my mom pray over the businesses, pray over us. She would pray, and the one thing I do, and you do sometimes, well, most of the time, because we pray together, but we pray over our business. So if you're not sure, pray over your business and trust the process. Ask God for wisdom, clarity, and provision as you step out in faith. Okay, He's going to give you the answers. You may not believe it, so try it and see what happens. Report back to me, because I love those stories. I love those stories when people are like, I prayed about it, and then this is what happened. You'll never believe it. So report back to me,
And like
please.
you said, document the journey. It could be a YouTube business. But what if you documented you starting this business and it became a huge YouTube channel? That happens. It happens. It could happen for you. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk podcast, and we hope you enjoyed this one, and we will catch you guys next week.
God bless you, and let family businesses be the future. God bless you. Have an amazing week, and we can't wait to talk to you next week. Take care.
Thank you so much for listening to today's Pretty and Punk Entrepreneur Parent Podcast. We hope you got so many good tips on this. And always make sure, always to make sure to like and subscribe, because this could bring hope in your marriage, family, and your life. Make sure to share it with everyone you know and show it to your kids. God bless. We appreciate you listening to the Pretty and Punk podcast this week. We hope you got something from listening today. Now go out there and start this business with your kids. You got this. We'll see you next week. God bless. And if you didn't hear, you got this. You got this. Bye.